Hello students. So today I am going to start unit 5. So in unit 4 we have already studied about memory concepts, and in that case we will study about the some alternate architectures of the computer, and here we will learn about that how the things are defined in different types of machines, and whenever we require a different type of things and different type of computing techniques, then we need different architectures, and for these different architectures we have to define them in the category. Okay, so here we will discuss about some another type of the architectures and the computing techniques. So the name of the unit is Introduction to Alternative Architectures. Okay, so we already know about the CISC machine, and which is a complex instruction set for computing. So here we will understand about the RISC machines and Flint's taxonomy. So we have divided our computer system in some of the categories. So defining all these things by means of the Flint's taxonomy, we will understand about that. And next thing is the parallel and multiprocessor architectures. So in parallel and multiprocessor architecture, we will learn about instructions level pipelining, superscalar and VLIW, vector processor, interconnection networks, shared memory multiprocessor, closely and loosely coupled multiprocessor systems. At last, we will learn about alternative parallel processing approaches, which are data flow computing and neural network. And in that case, I will use Linda Null, and in this book you will learn about alternative architecture. You can find this book on internet, and it is available online. And so the objectives of this unit are to learn the properties that often distinguish RISC and CISC architectures, understand how multiprocessor architectures are classified, that is our Flint taxonomy, so which we have already seen here, which is Flint's taxonomy, and this we will learn the classification of the computing systems. Next, we appreciate the factors that create complexity in the multiprocessor systems, and next we will learn about becoming the familiar with the ways in which some architectures transcend and the traditional von Neumann paradigm. So we just find some of the architectures which does not follow the von Neumann architectures. In the von Neumann architecture, you know that there is a memory and a computing system, CPU, and CPU directly interact with the memory, and memory contains the code as well as data. So here we will not learn about this type of architecture, we will learn about some other type of architectures also. And in that cases there are when we have large type of the large type of problems means if we need to calculate the temperature of the whole world. Okay, if we want to find the largest prime number, so in that case we need some extra architectures, and for example we need if we need to measure, or you can say we need to analyze the stock exchange of the whole world. So that type of problems are not possible by means of simple computing system of von Neumann architecture type of computing system. So for that kind of systems we need some external you can say some advanced architectures. Okay, so for this type of advanced architecture we will learn about that how the parallel and multiprocessor architecture works, and we also come to know that how the data flow computing and neural network works. So you also know that now these days the neural networks are of a very great use for the purpose of defining the robotic architectures and all. And there are many things which are applicable by means of the neural network. For example, if we need to find the shortest path for the landing of an aeroplane, then it will be a very good choice. Some artificial intelligent devices are also used whenever we, for example, if we need to define some kind of you can say chessboard programming. So we can play the chessboard by with our computing system using neural network. So some data flow computing kind of problems are also there, which we will discuss in the coming lectures. In the data flow computing, we should have all type of the data must available whenever we need to define any operation on them. So when one data is available, then only the when two operands are available, then only that your operation is possible in that case. So for these type of the cases, we will use the data flow computing. So some other architectures are also there which are very important for us. For example, vector processor, interconnection networks, and these type of things are also important for us. So distributed computing system are here, and we will discuss these things. Why distributed? Because each computing system will do its own task and provide the overall task after some time, when all the computing system define their manipulated data. Okay, so some superscalars and VLIW architectures are also there. Okay, so VLIW is a very large instruction word. Okay, so it is a very large instruction word, so we need to define some of the instruction coding, and I will tell you that how these things works basically. Okay, so in the coming lecture we will discuss about this thing. So there is an introduction. We have so far studied only about the simplest model of the computer system and classical single processors, von Neumann systems and all that we have already discussed in recently. In this chapter we will present a number of the different approaches to computer organization and architectures. So I have already told you that we will understand the alternative architectures and the parallel approaches, parallel computing system, neural network systems, data flow computing systems, and such kind of system we will understand. Some of these approaches are in the place of the today's commercial systems, and other may also on the basis of the computers of the tomorrow. So that may be possible that some of the computing system may generate other computers. Fine. For example, if a computer generate another computer, so it's a very good thing. It is possible also, because that may possible that some computing systems intelligently develop their own algorithm and own way of work. Then it may possible that they can generate another computers also. Okay, so that is the future technology, and we should discuss about these things. We should understand these things and being an engineer. Okay, so that's enough for this lecture. That is an introductory lecture of the unit 5, and I will tell you about another things in my next lecture. We will discuss about RISC architectures in our next lecture. Thank you.